Hi, friends. Welcome back to Occultists Anonymous, sponsored by Roll20, The Onyx Path, and viewers like you.
I was just going to say, maybe we should get the show started.
before we turn on each other. No. Thank you all very much for your support. If you like, follow, subscribe, the other kind of follow, the other kind of subscribe, and, podcast folks, I don't forget you're out there. I appreciate your support. I just don't see it because I don't know that I can see comments. Can you make comments on podcasts? I don't know. But I'm glad you're here.
Not on Spotify.
You can leave reviews on Apple.
Sorry, podcast app.
Yeah.
Which helps the algorithm.
Mm-hmm.
So y'all heard Chris.
5 stars.
Yes,
do the thing.
Please, the 5 stars on every episode. Thank you. But a special shout out to our Patreon supporters who support us monetarily. Thank you to Adele, Al, Alan Michael, Alexander, Ang Follett, Bernie, Blood Angel, Brandon, Chris, Daniel, Doc the Undead, Delore, Eddie Brock, Emil, Thunzusu Ali, George. You know what? I meant to ask. I'm sorry, buddy. Galian, Jack, Jenny, John, Josh, Julian, Catfeathers, Crazyman 1772, Melissa, Michael, Milo V3, Ms. Grumpy, Moku, Neo Megas, Noba, Other Michael, Parker, Perry, Puppeteer, Riafio, Ryan, Shaksara, Cinna, Taryn, The Arcane, Thomas, Toast, Usuf Sama, Uwu, Vortex Falcon, Woodsaum, and Zoltan. Yeah, we found Noctul. Like when I get to the bottom of the list and I'm like, I still haven't read anything really weird. There it is. Okay. But yes,
it's a puzzle.
Hmm?
They're giving us a mystery to solve right
Indeed.
at the beginning.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Right at the start. So welcome back, everybody, to 1846 Colorado, Purgatory Bluff, where 4 mages have awakened separately, not super recently, but kind of recently. Time is relative. We're mages. Well, they're mages. I'm the storyteller. And as we were exploring stuff and developing things, I'm going to remind everybody. Mage can get into some wacky stuff. Some of it may hit different depending on your personal life experience and stuff like that. And today is a particular good example because Jean-Paul plans to enter his Oniros, which is his soul, which is where all the memories and emotions and feelings and thoughts live, which can, be kind of amateur solo psychiatry and therapy, but it's going to be rough, just like real therapy. And that's even if you're trying to fix yourself, you just may get locked into a nightmare. So stuff can get weird and can get tough. And if you find yourself feeling uncomfortable, it is okay to skip this episode or skip forward a couple minutes. Or if you're watching live, go get a drink, pet a dog, come back. We will move on. And of course, for all my players, we have X cards, interrupt me, whatever, if anybody gets uncomfortable, as always. Mm-hmm. We are not aiming towards anything bad. I know everybody's lines and veils, but it's just a good reminder, especially, like I said, it's the Oniros and shit gets weird. Cool. So with that, we do...
I had a quick thing because it stuck in my head. What's the name of the river?
The Purgatorio.
Is that intentional, or did you misremember what it's actually called on the Google Maps?
Oh, what is it called on the Google Maps?
Because it's in French on the Google Maps.
Oh, what is it in...
The Purgatoire.
The Purgatoire. Gotcha. Okay. Yes, that's... depending on... And I'll be honest, it really probably depends on who you ask. Because if you ask, people who speak English, it's the Purgatory River. If it's...
Fair.
Yeah. But yes, good point.
I remembered because we were looking at it on Google Maps the other day when we were talking. And I was like, wait a second. I think we've been doing this wrong. We're not wrong, but different than reality, which is fine.
Because Chronicles of Darkness, definitely not reality.
Yeah.
We have 6 guns here. Not that any... Well, actually, someone does, now that I think about
Someone
it.
does.
Someone does. Don't know who that could be.
They've been on screen.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
that's right.
Just your cloak.
Pointed one at Cloak, yeah.
Yep. That's right.
Someday I'll have a reason to use one.
New storytell aspiration. Never
Let me
strong.
shoot someone.
Cool. So we've got a couple different things that we we didn't leave off on any specific thing, if I remember correctly. We kind of finished up, and we had plans, also known as aspirations and obsessions. Who wants to start? If anybody wants to jump straight to it. Cool, no volunteers.
Craig.
Oh, say that again, Chris.
I nominate Craig/Theo.
Sure. All right. I like that. We're gonna do this
All right.
popcorn style. Once you're done with your scene, you nominate who goes next.
Sure.
I am drinking, so I would rather not go right now.
So when we were checking out the graveyard, most of the ghosts there were as expected, and there was the one guardian that we had to talk with, but there was another ghost there that seemed to be a little more aware.
And you have seen ones like that, but they're very rare.
Yeah, and this is the first one that wasn't doing something that I saw in passing.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought I wanted to go and see if he was still there.
And if he's not there, maybe figure out where the fuck he went, because that's a problem.
Yep.
Fair. You're headed that night?
Yeah.
Cool. Which, for our purposes, as I pull up Conga, which is available to everybody. So this is that Wednesday night, the 14th of May, 1846. As Theo, in nice little dress and possibly some form of cloak, because it does get a little chilly. Heads up towards the graveyard, and again, it's a sleepy little town. There aren't patrols walking around or anything like that. If you just walk through Main Street, Purgatory Bluff, especially once sun has set and you're away from the tavern, you really don't get noticed. Make your way out to the graveyard, which is a little bit back away from town, because neither the chapel or church could decide, well, who's going to have a place, and it's we'll have a communal space where everybody can be buried together. A little bit morbid, but also kind of nice. Wholesome necromancy, it's a thing. Anyways, speaking of necromancy, so Theo, you head up towards the small gates. I imagine they're the waist high ones. This isn't a big fenced up thing, but it's got the low wall of stone, the little small iron gate. Swing it open, and as before, you have the few who seem to be kind of stuck in the loop of their death. As mentioned, the one that kind of more stands out among others is the one trying to strike his tombstone, and others that are muttering to themselves and stuff like that. The guardian, the farmer, kind of fresh out of the dirt looking gentleman, is not quite patrolling so much as keeping an eye out for intruders or anybody who would dare open the gate, or worse, come out from beneath the gate. And then the one gentleman, I believe, who is standing in, especially as you approach, sights in on you.
Just as I'm kind of approaching, the first question that kind of occurs to me is what's different about him compared to the other guys? So can I do some investigation on that, as I'm approaching?
I mean, this is mage, so yes.
Yeah. So is that, because I'm assuming ghosts have a pattern?
Mm-hmm. Everything has a pattern. A rock has a pattern, right? Yeah.
So what's the difference between the pattern of the guy trying to smash his headstone and the guy standing over there just looking at me creepily?
Sure. Are you going to use Mage Sight for that, or are you going to whip up a spell?
I will use Mage Sight for that.
Okay.
I think that should be...
Because effectively that's Focus Mage Sight.
Yeah.
So you have to spend the mana to activate that. Or shoot, is that willpower?
It's a willpower.
That's what I was thinking too. The mana comes in when you're adding additional successes.
Or if we're keeping it up for a long time.
That is also willpower. And now? Yes.
I thought mana was for not your main ones.
Correct. Yeah, willpower is the effort.
Yeah, mana allows you to add non-ruling.
Right. But yes, sorry. feel free to spend that willpower to activate scrutiny. And roll your. Well, we can start with a Gnosis plus Arcanum -2. That's the opacity that you're dealing with, just to get that initial, like, what the hey. Depending on, and this is a smaller opacity thing, so you may actually go ahead and get this in 1.
Well, you said -2?
Correct.
2.
And there you go. So, technically, you would have to get through some scrutiny if we were doing this by the normal rules, but for simple mysteries like this, I don't want to bog stuff down. So yeah, looking at him, initially, like, dead giveaway, it's fallen magic. That doesn't surprise you anymore. The understanding that stuff that is truly supernal is kind of rare. But, he is more than the other ghosts that you've seen. Is a little bit more together, a little more coherent, still trapped in its own thing, but for whatever reason is more whole, for lack of a better term, and has more. I'm trying to think of how Theo would see this. More of himself transitioned, if we want to play with the Moro stuff, over from death. Where you've always seen these ghosts as being fragments, of the person. This person seems to have a little bit more of themselves.
So is his pattern stronger?
I don't know that I would necessarily say. Well, actually, yes. For ghosts, we can pretty coherently say yes. This has a stronger pattern in general.
So, in theory, if I were to reinforce the pattern of one of the other ones, then they should be a little more like him, right?
Yeah.
So we'll put a pin in that one.
Right.
And
the logic is there, at least, yeah.
Yeah, and I'll head over to have my discussion. Or whatever's going to happen. Maybe he'll just hinge his jaw and try and swallow me whole.
Funny that you would mention that. No, roll edition. You need to spend, I believe it is a mana with your death sight in order to basically be able to interact and chat instead of having to cast a spell. Pulling that up real quick.
Sure.
Yes, spend a mana to speak, touch, and even strike them. However, this makes her vulnerable to their attentions as well, which, as you had mentioned, was already a concern. But yeah, and that lasts for a scene, by the way.
Sure. All right, so I'll boost that with mana. And just sort of cautiously as I'm walking over, like, raise a hand and say, hey there.
Hello. Again.
Just gives a little curtsy. I'm Theo.
I mean, see, this is why you can't make names off the top of your head, kids, because that guy almost ended up being Jedediah, which would be really silly. But yeah, kind of looks.
I mean, as long as he's not put in charge of anything.
Right. Then we get really silly. No. Noel. Hello.
Hi, Noel. I can't help but notice that you're a little different than the other folks that are hanging out here.
Kind of looks over at the other ghosts who are, kind of lost in their own world, and Jed, who kind of also in his own world, but is definitely more active, and kind of gives a shrug and says, I guess. Why?
Well, that's kind of what's brought me over here, is why are you different from these other folks? I've seen a few like you, but not very many.
Like me what?
Like that are more aware of their surroundings, I guess.
Kind of looks over to some of the the rank ones, and kind of gives a little bit of a shrug and says, maybe, but go interrupt what they're doing. They become real aware of you.
Right, but not in any kind of a coherent way. They're a little more
Monstrous.
Well, I was going to say animalistic, but
Sure.
break their routine or whatever they're trapped in, and they just lash out. But I'm able to have a conversation with you, and that's a rare thing for me.
Had to talk with Jed over there and didn't seem all that interested in talking to me.
Well, he's...
Just before you reply, a quick little pin, because this guy, similar to Jed and most everybody here, it's frontier clothes that, he's wearing. Doesn't seem to have, any, like, significant, like, telltale signs of...
Sign of death?
Thank you. That's
Sign
the
of
word.
cause of death?
Yep.
There you go.
Stalled, and... But as you're talking with him, and you've come in, you've curtsied, he's kind of backed himself, and he's standing square on his grave. He's got his tombstone basically right up against his feet. Well, tombstone, more of a wooden placard, and is definitely having this like distance between you and him, and
I would totally not encroach.
Right, and all his movement is. It's standoffish and guarded. Very, approaching a wary stranger or an animal.
Right, and he's probably seen people walk by all the time without ever noticing him, and I'm the first one it has. And of note, because everybody else who passes by is on the other side of Twilight, every time you've come by now, you've stepped over and are close enough to, speak and hear and stuff, yeah. Yeah. Do I see any sign of an anchor?
That would be... Actually, does that show up in your mage site?
Yeah, in mage site I can identify anchors.
Cool. The anchor condition, right, which would be on anchors, and blah, 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 whether the soul or if the body is infected. Right, okay. So... Actually, no, I'm going to probably go ahead and say you do not see an immediate anchor. I would guess that just from Theo's kind of fumbling around, she knows that ghosts have an anchor and have to stay near them. But yeah, you don't immediately see an anchor.
But his anchor just could not be visible right now, right? Like his anchor could be his corpse or something.
Right. Yeah, and to take it that step further, look around the graveyard. You don't see any visible anchors.
Okay.
Anywhere.
So, can you tell me a little bit about yourself? How did you end up here?
Kind of gives you a no shit buddy look, and says, I died and got buried.
And how did you die?
It's a bit of a personal question to be asking, don't you think?
Forgive me, I'm not trying to pry, I'm just trying to understand.
Hi,
I'm kind of new to this.
How were you born?
I was actually born in the back of a wagon.
Okay, that's probably less of an intrusive question than how were you conceived? But I don't need to know. I'm just saying, like...
Oh my god, Theo, you can't just ask someone why they're a ghost.
I'm just trying to understand why you're different. Forgive me if I'm being rude or something. I'm a little new to this sort of thing too.
Well, to be honest, I'm kind of new to it too, and as you can see, I don't exactly have all too many companions to discuss proper etiquette. I'm not sure if we're supposed to bow or...
So how about we just figure that out on our own?
I mean, that's fine.
Did you have someone in town?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. I'm trying to think how he would put it. I have folks.
Like family?
Yeah.
Wife, kids?
Yeah. Well, parents. I don't think
Parents are
she's
still
around
around?
anymore.
Are they still around?
Yeah.
What are their names?
Kind of like it does the same thing Jed does, and just kind of looks down at his, as somebody said in chat, his tomb wood, and you know, kind of, and yeah, you can see his name is Noel Hill, and he died, you know, 1844.
This motherfucker's name is Noel Hill.
Yeah, Noel Hill.
Hilarious.
But he's long as digitigrade legs. Laughs like a hyena.
By the way, that was the name generator.
Noel Hill. Hilarious.
I assume it's Noel, right? But, you know,
I mean,
wordplay.
no.
Yes. Like, I'm not gonna let that one just slide. Anyway, sorry. Back to Theo.
I'm not trying to pick apart your life or death or anything. I'm just trying to understand all this new stuff that I'm encountering.
I mean, you're kind of new and interesting too, but also, excuse my language, but fucking terrifying. You get to just come and go and talk with us and leave, and you're off-putting.
I can understand that. What you seem to have taken to the transition a lot better than these poor sods.
Not exactly sure I had much of a choice. Kind of points over to, you know, one of the other folks and says, you know, Elliot there. They put him in the grave. I watched the ceremony. The next day, he's up and raving like a madman. I don't know if that's a decision he made.
My feeling is it isn't really a decision. It just kind of happens, but I'm not sure how that happens. But I feel like I want to try and help him. That's why I was trying to understand why you're different from them. Does Elliot have family in town?
Not that I know of. And pointing over, he looks, you know, whereas, you know, Noel is dressed more like a farmer. Elliot definitely has like the wear and tear of a miner, and stuff like that. And his body does not look great, whether or not that was from work or from death. His corpus, air quotes there, you know, is a little bit more mangled.
You know these other folks that are here?
Most of them were before my time, but Elliot came after me. Kind of remember Elliot.
Did you know Elliot well, or just know of him?
Just knew of him. You know how it is in this town. Well, maybe. I don't know how long you've been here.
I haven't been here that long, and most of the folks don't. Well, most of the women folk don't much care for me. And some of the men folk like me too much. Well, I know this has been a lot for you to take in, so maybe I'll give you a little bit of space. But I'd like to come and talk again sometime if you don't mind.
Well, don't make it a regular thing. I don't exactly have anywhere to go, but I do like my peace and quiet.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. And to give more context and body language, you know, it's definitely one of those, like, sure, you can come chat, but please don't come, like, every day, you know, kind of vibe.
I wanted to go and have a look at Elliot.
Sure. Which, I mean, going is not very far, you know, just quick step and a jump. But
I
yeah.
am looking at reinforcing his pattern to try and make it look more like Noel's. I'm guessing that's going to be
Quicking Ghost.
Yep. So it would be that'd be perfecting or weaving.
It's perfecting. You're making something what it is better.
More of what it is.
Are you going to try and increase his rank as well? Or do you even think that's where Theo's at yet with this experimentation?
Well, I don't know that Theo knows rank.
Mhm.
I'm just approaching it from the point of view that she's trying to reinforce his pattern.
Sure.
So, out of characterly, it'd be like a quickened ghost.
Right, without the reach.
But is that, if I just quicken the ghost, I don't think that that's going to make him communicable, right?
Correct. Out of
So I
character,
think-
you know that, but I'm just trying to figure out Theo's.
So from Theo's perspective, I'm thinking if I reinforce his pattern with mana.
That makes sense. Yeah, and that's a pretty good way to get to that reach.
And I can use the graveyard as a yantra.
Absolutely. It's an environmental yantra for one.
So that's what overreaching by 1.
Excuse me, what are you spending reach on?
Instant cast and advanced duration.
Oh, okay, cool. So he's not actually yet doing the reach to actually increase rank.
Oh, right. Yes.
That would be, and
It's
that's
a reach
what
thing.
I was
It's
trying
not
to
just mana.
figure. Yeah, it's
Okay.
whopping 4 reach.
Yeah, I'll go for it.
Okay. Well, actually, yeah. We'll I will ask because also sensory range, or are you going to try and touch or throw a ball of energy at Elliot?
Well, he's not really gonna, unless I interrupt him. He's not gonna know I'm there. So I'm gonna try the touch.
Okay. Cool.
We'll see
Alright.
how that goes.
So that's 4
Overreaching by
reach.
3.
Yep. All right. And so that's 3 paradox, or are you spending mana?
I'm running low on mana, so no, and we'll deal with that later, I guess. But
Sure. Roll your wisdom there. Got 1 success on paradox.
3 successes.
Not a problem. So take that bashing wound and then roll your 4, 5, 6.
3 successes.
Cool. And it is a potency spell, or because I should have asked you this, are you actually putting the full 3 potency into it? Or are you just going to nudge them up a little bit?
I want to just nudge him up a little bit.
Okay, because the reach will handle the rank, but the potency then is going to be attributes going up.
I don't know what's going to happen, so I don't want to make him stronger.
Sure.
Because he might just, I may reinforce the pattern and then he'll just be twice as angry.
Okay, so one option you have, and this is kind of a little bit meta, but also because you're talking about reinforcing the pattern, I think this also makes sense, is instead of spending that potency and increase attributes, you can spend it to heal him and heal his corpus instead.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
See if that helps.
And that's what it heals the corpus at a rate of 1 point per potency. Is that bashing? Is that lethal? Is that aggravated? No, you just heal 3 points. Occasionally this book. Cool.
I mean, the injuries don't matter if you just have health boxes filled, right?
Right.
The category.
Yeah, which as far as I can see, that's exactly what it is. Doesn't care if it's aggravated, lethal, or bashing. It just heals it. Cool. But yes, with that, I'm not going to make you roll to touch Elliot. For the most part, Elliot is kind of laying on the ground in various states of agony or just like blissed out of his mind. You're not quite sure. And, kind of lay that hand down, and I imagine it's, like tag and then the step back to see what happens. And especially with your mage sight on, you can see his body kind of knit together a little bit, but the healing that you were expecting to maybe perhaps fix his broken body doesn't really take, not in the way that you would expect from a kind of human perspective. But with your mage sight on, you definitely see his pattern. If we think of it as literal fabric, the threads getting, tauter, and, beefier, more cable-esque instead of little strands.
But the wounds are kind of part of who he
is as a ghost now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And his body kind of stops the shudder, kind of looks. Eyes are still a little bit glassy and still kind of, far away, but has enough to focus in on you, especially since you're, right there. Kind of looks up at you.
Hi.
You didn't do it to me.
No.
Kind of looks you up and down, like a hand kind of slowly reaches out towards your ankle.
I'll let him.
Okay.
Okay.
While he's reaching, I'm just going to say, my name's Theo. I'd like to help.
All right. Nice to meet you, Theo. And was this about cool. What is your stamina?
My stamina is 2.
Okay. Trying to make sure I do this roll correctly.
The powers of invisible entities.
Yep. Power plus finesse -2 because it's penalized.
He's using one of his Numina.
His new. Ooh. Okay.
Okay.
So as his hand kind of wraps around your ankle, each success on the activation roll inflicts 1 point of lethal damage. So you take 4 lethal.
Ooh.
Ooh, man.
As your body starts to accelerated decay, and I imagine it kind of starts at the feet and the ankle, and some of the stuff that you perhaps saw growing up when people who may have had like leprosy or some of these other kind of terrible conditions. Yep. So we're now in initiative.
Yeah.
Well, we don't necessarily need to be in initiative because it's just the two of you, but yep, that was his instant action. And because you have mage sight on, which by the way will penalize non-magical bullshit by 2, but I will kind of give you a little gimme here of as you watch like essence, this for probably from her perspective, this soul stuff just kind of evaporating off of him.
Sure. So I'm probably closer to death than I've been in a long time.
Yeah.
But I have the ability to like control ectoplasm and shape, and so I'm gonna try and.
Oh yeah, you can put him in a different shape entirely. Absolutely.
Well, first thing first is I want to throw up a bubble around myself.
Okay.
Could you have done that reflexively?
That's death armor, which is different. I'm thinking of the Goche shield.
And death armor may actually this may actually be a
turn into bashing.
very
Oh yeah,
good thing.
death armor is lethal becomes bashing.
Yeah. That's why Chris is trying to remind you, hey, you don't
armor.
have to take lethal.
And that would be reflexively.
From kinetic attacks to bashing. This doesn't.
So it wouldn't protect here.
Would not in. Yeah, you basically react to things as the undead.
Death armor sucks.
Death armor is not super great, but it does let you go off. Like you could basically have
turned into an action hero.
And
Right.
you can get shot and be fine.
You can be shot and be fine. You can
But
have.
it doesn't protect you against ghosts.
Yeah.
Unlike spirit armor, which is
Protection
very
from
good.
spirits.
Mm-hmm.
It also
So it
doesn't
doesn't actually
protect you
protect me
again.
from anything really. So I'll have to go with Goche shield.
Death armor lets you fight a werewolf and not get swiped to death in one hit.
Yep.
Well, I mean, if the stuff overflows, though.
You hope.
Well, because Death Armor specifically lets you do all zombie mode and just be like, I'm full of aggravated damage except for that one health box. And as anybody who plays Magic knows, all you need is the one. But yes, Greg, Ghost Armor is your first step.
Yeah.
Cool. And I imagine there's also probably a quick step back away from Elliot. Absolutely. And bear in mind for yantras, if you are doing this turn, you have this one yantra.
Yep. Instant cast, advanced duration.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds right.
It's a rank 1, so I've got 2 free reach, 3 free reach.
No. Ghost Shield is a 2-dot spell. Because it is.
Is it 2? Okay, so 2 free reach.
Yep. And that will protect against their Numina, but if you take the additional reach, he won't even. It will protect against actually being physically struck.
Did I factor that in? I'll start again. I don't need potency, don't need duration, no scale, and just 1 yantra.
What yantra are you using?
The graveyard.
Sure.
I want to make sure that actually works, or this will be a short session for me.
For you.
So 6
Cool.
and 1 overreach.
Actually, hang on. I need to roll another.
An extra
you've
one
already-
because
yep.
it's my second, yeah.
Oh,
I'm gonna get
sorry.
abyssal.
I've got to throw one more because you're also currently. Actually, I will give you a freebie. Do you drop the spell that is currently bolstering his rank?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Good.
Okay, cool.
Lower
Yeah.
power
So
finesse.
yeah, drops his drops that
You
rank, and we
idiot.
don't have to make you roll that. So 4 + 4, 8. Oh, you're throwing willpower at it. Absolutely, yeah.
Yep. I count 6, right? Or 4 and 4. You're right. It's 8.
I mean,
I
if you
can't
want to
do
roll
math
6,
today.
sure,
No,
but
no.
I don't want you to die.
3 successes. I'll take it.
Cool. Yeah, the bubble comes up, and he's gonna try the same damn thing. Though that little step back, which you can totally do as part of casting the spell, that broken body of his is actually limiting his mobility, and so we have a very zombie-esque moment of him kind of rolling over, and his legs are not great, and he just military army crawls much faster than any zombie in any zombie movie. He's still moving at a pretty fast speed. It's very, bad nightmare thing, and tries to grab at you again. And before I even, technically I should roll. He rolls his. Ooh, won't be 8 now. Yeah, we'll call it 5. Let's see. Okay, so it goes off air quotes, but it's gonna have a clash of wills. So roll your gnosis plus death +1 because you have advanced duration.
Okay.
Actually, I take that back. No, because it's just for the scene, so it doesn't get, because it has to be for a day, right?
2.
Cool. And so he is going to roll his rank, because his influence doesn't apply. Yep, 0 successes.
Yeah.
So
It sounds like a John Cena sound.
yeah, I meant to go with Price is Right, and it just went somewhere
okay.
else.
You gotta have that additional beat. Dun, 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 dun.
Thank you. That's the one I wanted. So 0 successes on his Clash of Wills. So he grabs hold. You watch this essence just flow off of him again. Brace yourself, and it just rolls off of you, and you don't feel anything.
All
And,
right.
Yeah. There's probably some no, come back.
I almost don't want to do this, but I think I kind of have to. I don't know any way to make him stay put.
One thing I will tell you, stay put is one thing, but the only reason he can even touch you and attack you right now is because of your mage sight.
Yeah. But, yeah. No,
I want to know shit.
I want to know
Yeah.
shit. I think I'm going to push it, so I'm going to
Make
attack
mistakes. Get messy.
Yes.
I'm gonna attack his pattern.
Okay.
Devour the slain.
That'll be. I mean, Theo doesn't know this, but this will be a damage ghost.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. You're not gonna rip mana out.
Yeah, that is an option.
Or I could do that. Yeah, I like that one better actually.
Yeah. Now, bear in mind, devouring the slain is withstood by resolve, which means his resistance stat, which may be pretty healthy, because even a rank 1 has some pretty decent.
Okay,
Fair enough.
so then I'll just go with damage ghost.
Right, which just straight damage.
Yep.
I don't
I
think
can
Theo
cast.
does much straight damage.
What's that? What's
Theo
that?
doesn't do much straight damage.
No. Funny.
You
That's
said
just the
after
instant cast.
June I wouldn't have to put up with this.
Sorry, it's Gay Wrath
Never.
month now.
Oh.
Ah, man, this is gonna suck because I'm out of willpower. Scale. I need a quick, so just one yantra. That's it.
Oh, big potency. That's going to be 7 bashing damage. Nope, 5 bashing damage if it lands. We do have to throw some paradox at this.
See.
No, actually we don't, because you didn't provoke at all, so the cumulative stuff doesn't matter. Oh,
Rolling 1 die.
I take that back. It does, because you have 2 spells active. So
Oh, okay.
Thank you,
I'll-
Chris.
3 spells active.
I'm gonna take that potency off then, because I also remembered I'm -1 because of my wound status.
mm-hmm.
All right, so that'll be 4 or 5 dice.
Okay.
Which is 4. Ooh, that's not good.
Nope.
I'm gonna take a dramatic failure.
So,
Ooh,
unbeknownst to the rest of us, Craig is prepared to leave the campaign. No.
Damn.
All right. Cool. Gains a condition. Well. Attacking ghost. Oh, I know what we're going to use.
It's bad, okay.
Spooked.
Yep.
Well, I figure worst that's gonna happen is that I'll get badly injured in the graveyard, and I'll drop Mage Sight when I go unconscious.
That's a good point.
In the middle of the night and hope that somebody gets
In the
you.
middle of the night, and
Excuse me.
Cloak did have plans with you.
That's true.
So
But no, this will be shaken, not spooked. Effectively the same thing, but shaken is basically you give into your fear and decide to fail a roll when your fear may kick in,
okay.
and that gets beat, of course. Cool. It is his turn. He is now really low on essence.
Still have Ghost Shield up though.
Yep. So he's got to try harder, but I better believe he's going to try. Is contested by. Okay, so you will roll your stamina, resolve, and gnosis, all piled together.
Stamina,
He is
resolve.
He is going after your essence. So in this case, we're going to play with he's draining your mana.
Sure. Not gonna get much.
Nope. And this is more meta-wise for you. Technically, whoever wins this gets the essence. So you may actually pull essence out of him instead.
Oh.
Not that you as a death mage have essence, like you can mess with essence, but yeah. 2 successes versus.
Walk by Isabel, see what happens.
What's that?
Let's see here.
Can I fail this roll to resolve the condition?
You could.
I think I'm gonna fail this roll to resolve the condition.
Okay, so you will have it will count as 0 successes on your end.
And you get a beat.
Get a beat. And how much mana you got?
I have 4.
Oh, look.
No, you don't.
He gets 4 mana.
Okay.
Cool. Oh, wait, hang on. All right, roll your Gnosis plus death.
Something happens when you take all that mana away.
No, this is
Go Shield. Go Shield may actually end up
that's
protecting
right.
her from the effect anyways.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Cool. So, yeah, it's like, I don't even know how to defend this. Oh, Go Shield did it for me. All right. I'm okay with this.
So some spell.
Yep.
all right. I am going to drop Mage Sight,
Right.
which should pull me completely out of.
Yeah, that overlap into Twilight. And so, yeah, all the ghosts are gone. The world reverts back to normal. You're just standing in a graveyard and
Disheveled and bruised.
disheveled. And, well,
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
we're talking
I'm
multiple
not-
lethal.
I
So,
am fucked up.
Oh, you did take the lethal.
I am fucked up. Okay,
And it's nighttime,
and it's nighttime,
and you're by yourself.
and I'm by myself
in a graveyard.
in a graveyard.
We'll let Theo think about her decisions as we jump over.
Let her think
Think
about the
about what you've
consequences of
done.
her actions.
Yeah. Active hubris? No, probably not. Cool. So let us pick up with, let's see, I guess perhaps the 15th, the next day. I know we had a couple different plans, and I think we'll jump over to Gisela and Isabel. That way, basically, we may end up giving the second half to Jean-Paul's adventures in his belly button.
Omphaloskepsis.
Sorry, you completely lost me on that one.
That's a technical term for navel gazing.
Oh. Today I learned. So yeah, I think this may originate with Gisela.
Yeah. I also went ahead and took my sleep willpower back.
Because it is now the 15th.
Basically got home the night before, helped out around the house, everything, but like mentally check note to get prepared and go back there tomorrow.
Right.
And I wanted to go ask Isabel because she does a lot of wilderness
Outdoorsy?
sort things, outdoorsy things, yeah. She seems like a good choice for
She tries to keep it on the
Exploring.
down low, but I think it's probably been a little bit more revealed to you of all people.
To you
Yeah.
specifically, yeah.
So, the next day, probably around midday, I've gathered up, got like, I guess a small lantern. It wouldn't just be like an open candle.
Right.
Um,
How much of this stuff are
Probably-
you borrowing from the shop?
I know it's probably things I have at home.
Okay.
Yeah, just like a little small lamp and some rope. Seems useful.
50 feet of rope.
I don't know much about cave diving, but
10-foot pole.
that seems good. In my
Bring
head, I'm like,
dwarf.
these are the supplies. And yeah, I'm going to go find Isabel at the tavern, I guess. If they're open for lunch.
It's where she lives, so it's either there or
Yeah.
the stables.
And just sort of walk in and look around.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's lunch, so yeah, there's probably
Yep.
some folks there, and just being the fact that it's
A
open.
slow day.
Yeah,
I'm just going to
It's
walk up to you
Monday,
and go.
right?
I believe it is,
Yeah, I think so.
is currently. It is actually
Monday or Tuesday?
Thursday.
Oh, wow.
Thursday.
Okay, we did a whole
I've missed some days.
few days. Okay.
Yeah, just walking up to you and sort of stop. Like, hello, Isabel.
Hello.
I found something. Would you like to see?
When we last saw Isabel, she was like, "Y'all being super nerds. I don't want any of this shit."
Is it interesting?
Yes. I think
To me?
I can show you.
That's me.
All right. I mean, it's pretty slow around here. I'll see if Henriette will let me flag off for a bit, and then we can do a little hunting or something on the way.
Mm-hmm.
And for the most part, because it is a slow day, but what do you tell her that you're going off to go do, if anything? Well, specifically for Isabel getting off of work.
I will tell her that Miss Bauer and I are going to go afield for a little bit, and perhaps see if we can find some, small prey for dinner. Cool. Something to serve the guests or something like that.
Sure.
Step it up a little bit tonight. Yep.
All right, and you are casting
Sacred Geometry on both of us.
Aha. Cool. So once you guys kind of get outside, get away from town a little bit. Well, probably even just in town because it's not an obvious magic. Yeah.
Well, no, I was going to take her to the river.
Right. But that's what I mean. You're going to cast it as you're headed out. Let's see.
Yeah, because my mantra is I have my seeing stone, and I was going to use the river.
Sure. I like that.
So it's overreaching by 2 because I've got instant duration and scale.
Okay. So you're spending mana on the paradox.
How many is it?
2.
2? Yeah.
Yep.
I'll spend 2. I have full mana, so 2 successes.
Finally, it works
Terrible.
in my direction. So yes, go ahead and roll your wisdom there.
8.
2
2 successes.
All right.
All right.
Still no abyssal conditions.
The wounds I had before were gone, right? Because
they were 2 days.
Bashing?
The small bashing stuff, is 15 minutes. So that's gone during a walk. And then your lethal damage would have been over 2 days, which would have been over the 2 weeks.
Back.
Right. Yeah. So you should be fine.
So yeah, just have 2 bashing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, basically I'm going to take my little seeing stone and just sort of like dip it in the water and then hold it up to you to look through. And now you see.
As the spell goes off. Yeah, now, notably...
You don't need to keep looking through the stone, but...
Now, what do ley lines look for Isabel?
Game trails, probably.
Sure.
Well-trodden, worn down...
maybe like an ethereal sort of...
Well, especially because in this case, they're moving along this
it's
river.
in the water, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, there's various different hoof and paw prints in the surface of the river.
I like it.
I found it.
Found what? Found a river.
I don't know. It keeps going.
Okay.
And then it goes somewhere else that I couldn't get to on my own. Would you like to go with me? Well, it's more that I didn't have a lantern. I brought supplies and showed my light.
All right. Oh.
How are you
froze.
with caves?
This is where we find out that Isabel is claustrophobic.
Caves?
This turns eventually outside town.
I mean,
It
you
goes
can
into
even
a little
from here,
cave.
you can probably point at.
Yeah. And we're gonna start walking.
Okay. Lead the way.
All right.
And then behind her back, spirit.
Yeah, which, man, this is crazy how this lines up and overlaps this stuff, perfectly. I know Spirit doesn't by itself see ley lines and stuff like that, but
Right.
I'm sure with that made
So
sight,
they can see resonance and stuff like that.
right, and with that kind of labeled, on top, it's like, oh, this is something like significant. I feel like the ley lines take on a different vibe with the Spirit sight on, and so yeah, you guys make the.
Is there a spirit nearby?
I mean, you see
The river.
And I think actually, especially when you two had made your way down closer to the river, it showed up and has been shark-esque stalking you and moving down in the water.
I'm just walking ahead, like springing my step, not quite skipping, because I'm excited.
I am excited as well.
Okay.
So yeah, you guys make
Not gonna let, hopefully not gonna let anything come to harm of Gisela, but I'm intrigued by what the spirit is doing.
Sure. Yeah, so you guys kind of, make small talk. I don't know if there's any specific things that you guys, bring up or chat about, but like I said, it's, it's a 2-hour walk or something like that.
I said 3 miles, so like an hour.
Yeah. And, make your way to that inlet, whatever, a little offshoot. And, as it heads down into the cave, and you can see the spirit is, chilling and moving and continues with the rest of the room. And kind of moves back and forth and stuff like that, is very closely watching you. I imagine at this point, there's talk around the court, even if Isabel isn't really part of it. People are talking about that weird human who can speak to us and see us, and it's like, okay, yeah, we recognize you, we watch you. What are you doing down here at the river? And is more than happy to, if you come in, it'll definitely have dinner with you.
Now that I see that there's a bucking, mostly underwater cave that Gisela wants us to go into, I'm gonna call out to the spirit.
So yeah, go ahead and spend the mana on it. I love it because it works the same way Dust does. To be able
What
to
is
inter- it's the same ability to
Yeah.
instead of doing Exorcist Eye. I'm trying to find. Well, yeah, who am I kidding? It's I know what the spirit's name is. But
Purgatoire.
huh?
Purgatoire.
Yeah. It goes by many names, but yeah, it's all the same.
A river by any other name.
There you go. And it kind of leans its head up, and it's very classic, mermaid kind of thing of the arms come up and it leans up on the river bank and stuff like that. And, this bubbly and yeah, it's very sultry, welcoming voice, especially compared to Alphoth, who is, very full of himself and, oh, yes, dear.
Hello.
Hello.
It's well, my name is Isabel.
I know.
Well, it is
I'm
nice
just
to meet you.
watching.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Gisela has
Isabel just
half of this
bows
conversation
to the river.
Well, because
Yeah, I'm
Gisela
just-
doesn't see any of this.
Right.
No, I
know.
just see you talking to nothing. So I
You
mean,
see
I
me
assume.
talking to the river.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm
Just like-
bowing. I am pleased to have finally made your acquaintance.
Likewise, I've heard so much about you.
Hopefully good.
Interesting.
Very well. I was hoping to ask a favor. Since this is your domain,
Mm-hmm.
my friend and I are exploring,
Mm-hmm.
learning,
Yes.
and it seems that there is something interesting in this cave over here.
Oh. Is there?
As far as our eyes can tell, yes.
Oh, interesting.
I was hoping if I might beseech your aid in not drowning us.
I don't understand.
Well, you are aware that humans need to breathe air?
I've heard that.
Well, your
Seems-
waters,
I've heard
though
that,
they
but it
are
seems terribly inconvenient.
lovely and life-sustaining in other ways,
Ooh,
would
the
do
compliment.
us harm. Would do us much harm were they to fill our lungs.
Oh, yes, I'm aware.
So, could you stemmy them, redirect them perhaps, to allow us to venture into the cave?
And, like, sidles up, farther up towards that little inlet, or the little offshoot, and kind of just, runs her fingers through it. And, like, this little thing is, yay wide, but of course, because it's in that mouth opening, it's going to be a significant problem. And she says, what? All this little trickle? This is a problem?
Oh, we don't know. We don't know what's below.
She kind of, like, lifts her body up, and it's very, draw me like one of your French girls, Jack.
Right.
Yep. And, well, something is below there. You sure you want to go down in there instead of staying with me?
Can always come back.
Well, let's make a deal.
Your aid is actually explicit to help us in coming back. Getting down there, I don't think would be a problem.
Let's make a deal. I stop a little of this water going down, and when you all come up, you spend the night with me. All night. I can see the wheels turning because Chris doesn't have
like
enough
math
life magic to make
equations.
this work.
Yeah.
If that is what you ask.
Yeah, both of you can be my guests for the night.
Oh, well. Allow me to further along your offer. Gisela, we are being asked to spend the evening with our hostess in return for sort of increased safety of our passage into your little hidey hole that you've discovered.
What does that mean?
Spend the night. I don't know. It sounds fine.
In the river?
This sounds like the uwu that Noctel was
Right.
mentioning earlier.
Camping on the shore overnight? Sure.
That's fair. She makes a good point. My lady, what exactly did you have in mind?
Oh, well, I think you all call it a swim, right?
All night?
Oh, yes.
That would kill us.
I don't know that we'd be up to the task.
You just have to be in the water. You don't have to be underneath it.
I mean, we could sit on the shore and dangle our feet in and chat.
Ash, would you be so kind, because I know this is your purview, go ahead and make a bit of a int plus occult roll. Before necessarily, because
Before Isabel makes a fairy deal for you.
right. I was like, let's just be very careful in what we say here.
Nope.
Nope.
Oh,
Sounds
no.
great.
Oh no. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the idea of loopholes and stuff like that, and maybe being careful about what you say. She's like, oh no, you can't just dangle your feet in the water. You have to come swim with me. I love chat. Excellent decisions tonight. Yep.
All around.
All around. And we haven't even got into the weird ones.
That's right. It's gonna be some bad choices.
I'm going to counteroffer just me.
Okay. Yeah, definitely give me a roll on that.
Yeah.
Ooh. But first.
And I'd like to use my sympathetic merit.
Mm-hmm. Getting a lot of work out of that.
It's so good. It's 2 free doors.
I know, right?
Free.
Right. And Ash, what are you rolling here?
A divination.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so while you're over here talking, I'm going to
Shuffle cards, pull a card.
deck, and flip one. And I have the reach for instant and for the complicated question.
Okay. We only have to do one paradox because you have Gnosis 2.
Mhm.
Nothing happens there. So, yep, go ahead. Roll your
Okay.
4 dice.
So it's
I'm gonna kind of talk shit about Gisela a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's not that interesting, and plus she wouldn't be able to see you. So, like, I mean, how much of a good company could she be?
I like
you
that.
know?
And it could just be the two of us. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have drawn my one card. The question I was reaching for is like, what will happen? Like if you spend the night here, what's going to happen to you?
You would drown. Cool.
I'm just gonna like shuffle my card back in, put it in my pocket, and be like, I don't think this is a good idea.
I know.
But yes, with that roll, yes, she goes, okay, that's fine. Just you and I. Besides, she really isn't that interesting. She's pretty and all, but she doesn't understand me the way you do.
She doesn't play the game like we do.
Sure.
I mean, like, her whole shtick is a lot of what Isabel does for her job, so.
Right. Mm-hmm. That's very true. So, okay. Is it a deal then?
I don't see why not.
Okay.
I don't think you should say yes.
Tonight is a night for bad decisions.
Cool. And so, yeah, there's no shaking on it. There's just a smile, and you watch as the water kind of just continues flowing, but no new water adds to this to the flow. And there's just this, like, if anybody else were to see it, it'd be like, huh, that's kind of weird, because it just kind of bubbles up and just kind of and flows and joins back into the rest of the river. But yeah, after a little bit, it's muddy still, and rocky, but yeah, it's no more water flowing down there.
Okay, well, I'm going to light my lantern. It's like, well, I hope you don't die.
But in the meantime, we have a cave to explore.
Yeah, and turn to go down into the cave.
Yep.
Your lantern? I might have a better idea than that.
Okay.
Everybody who's ever played D&D, especially 5th edition, I have dark vision.
I had dark vision.
I can see. You said
Well,
it's a dark
actually,
cave.
it's a 60 feet.
We make that joke. However, we still need to see if you actually can cast the spell. Yes, Forces 1, Night Vision. Does exactly what it says on the tin, plus some.
Forces 1 is just really good for like any sort of outdoorsy thing.
Forces 1 and 2 are very good.
Space
Like-
1 and 2 would like to have a conversation.
But yeah, just like controlling the weather so that you're never like exposed to the elements. can see in the dark. It's super handy. And then the tune in zoom vision.
Yep. Matter 1 says you never get wet in a rainstorm. You know, Fate 1 says
Turns
you're
out
never late to meetings.
Turns out magic is impressive.
Yeah.
Magic is good, yeah.
Except for Fate. Fuck Fate. Anyways, 2 overreach. Are we spending mana? I think I know the answer, but yeah. 1 success. Please roll your wisdom. It's not been reduced. Cool. So take a bashing wound and then roll that 1, 2, 0, 6 dice, please. Whom.
Nice.
Actually, it's more of the splinter sound. Whee! As the goggles come down. And and especially because there is no pop culture reference for you all to make, and just all of a sudden.
I think the approach for Isabel is to make us more like a nocturnal predator. It's coming from forces, but it's got that sort of life.
The imago.
Sort of.
Yeah. Cool, I like that. And chat asking, does Isabel
Is it
even
like,
know about the shadow? Not really. There's a gauntlet, but what's on the other side?
But we haven't been over there yet.
Nope.
Making looking in the dark, like looking through when the full moon's out at night.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's dark, but you can see.
Yep,
Right.
That's exactly my thought. It's just that really wide-eyed, wide pupil kind of just pulling in all the light, which technically is what night vision does anyways. But
It could also look like your eyes have a tapetal lucidum.
ooh, yeah, that would make sense. Little night sight, little reflective thing with
The reflective bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So crawling down, and like I said, for the most part, you can get by on all fours as you guys crawl down into this, kind of cave. But there are a couple spots where, especially with your supplies, you actually have to push ahead and you're on your bellies. Like, this is, glad you wore your, more frontiersy outfit and not your nice dress kind of, vibe a little bit. Definitely get down in, and definitely some spots where it's like, oh yeah, totally would have died. And actually, I would imagine in there, you definitely find like the remains of like some frogs,
Small
or
critters.
little other things that got stuck. But as you kind of make your way in, there is a sudden drop of like 4 or 5 feet, and it's not graceful for anybody because you're pulling yourself out and just slip kind of head first and kind of do into a roll.
Do a
and
little otter thing.
Splash into, a puddle large thing. And there's water, ankle high, and seems to be slowly draining out of the room, but it's a big old cavern. You're definitely, the entrance that you're in was clearly the entrance for a lot of this, and it seems to have worn through however many years, right? And opened, clearly this wasn't all just from this trickle of water, and it's a large, fairly smooth, stoned room. Probably 1,000 square feet, it's I'd say
big.
Room, more cavern, but it doesn't quite have that depth. It's only about 6 feet high. Some places it's a little bit lower, and there's deformations in the rock and stuff like that. But especially with your the night vision on, you can see there's some like animals in here. There's a couple of fish who are very, very, very confused about where the water is going. Sorry guys. Follow the water wherever it leads. Maybe you can get out.
Scoop them up, bring them with me.
Right. Albino. That's true. Yeah. Albino alligators with little golden horns. No. But otherwise, physically almost featureless room, but with sacred geometry. That trail just leads straight forward into more or less the center of the room and comes across parallel to what, before you'd seen the game trail flow of resonance, the tapestry that meets this, to use Gisela's imago, almost like a bone needle through earth, and they cross at this spot. And it has, if ever something had a vibe, this is it. There's no physical sense to it. There's nothing there. But both of you feel the draw, both from sacred geometry, but then also for spirit. This thing has some punch to it. And it feels not like a tear, but, using the fabric thing, this is a spot where stuff has been stitched together to create an opening. It is an opening, but it not necessarily rent, but so much as naturally formed. And for Isabel, I imagine, you have the game trail that runs parallel to this, and perhaps pulling on some like more hunter vibes. This kind of aggressive, very physical, very. I'll use the term violent, but it doesn't necessarily have the negative connotations that necessarily go with that. But a kind of physical aspect of the raw physicality, strength, and stuff like that, all kind of done together, almost predation, perhaps, from her perspective. They meet up together at this spot in the middle of this absolutely dark room. There's a couple other spots down, that the river also seems to flow into. And it's still trickling water in a little bit, and some of the reason you have the ankle deep stuff. And then kind of farther away, you have a space where it's a tall crack in the wall that leads elsewhere. And until you guys manage to get, kind of paper wide, thin, itty bitty bodies, there's no fitting through that. And you have quite a few fish who are very upset at this itty bitty little crack. Sorry, guys.
Cool. Dinner.
Yep.
Sorry, fish.
Okay, well, scrutinize.
Sure.
It's just like a thing.
What in the world
Yeah,
you found?
Yep.
I don't know.
But it's cool, I think. And I think that's a good place to take a break. We'll come back to Jean-Paul going into his Oneros, and then we'll circle back around and see if does Theo make it back home? Do they figure out if it's a locust or a hallow or both? It's both. Surprise. If you played Mage, it should be recognizable.
Surprise.
Yeah. But do they figure out what it is? And what they can do with it, and how dangerous this could be? Especially since, again, as Chris has mentioned before, there's no werewolves, guys. So, yeah. We'll be right. Did they forget to tie the rope? It's only a 6-foot drop. It's not a big deal. They might have to do some boosties or something like that, but they can get out.
Some boosties.
Yep.
I have to use a little fate.
A little fate, yeah, so you don't slip,
Get
crack your
lucky.
head, yeah. So anyways, Twitch guys, go get something to drink, go to the bathroom, hug your loved ones, pet a dog, pet a cat, whatever animal, pet friend that you have. It's cool. And we'll be right back. We return back to the graveyard where Theo is not looking great.
Nope, not feeling great either. First thoughts home.
Sure.
So she's going to start staggering her way home.
Okay. A note.
15 minutes later, the bashing is healed up.
One bashing wound is healed up, yes.
So that removes her penalty.
Oh, that's good. A quick note before she does trundle off. While you turned off your mage sight, you could turn your mage sight on and see ghosts and be basically unable to be touched by them. And you could target them with spells.
Or rip that man out.
Notably, I bring this up because this is one of those moments where, Theo can set the precedent of, I'm the necromancer here, I'm the boss. And...
That's good.
Yep.
Put him in line.
I don't know that would occur to her.
Sure, and that's fine. It was just more bringing it up to Craig, and Craig can decide what Theo is.
But there is no way that she can let Catherine see her like this.
Ooh, yeah.
So I know in a corpse is just an object.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And I
we
can
go.
just
This is great.
shift things around in objects. Objects are just a state change. Thinking, can I do something like that with the necrotic damage I've taken that's making me look like a withered creature now?
Interesting. I will tell Craig, absolutely not.
Oh,
But-
Craig would counter actually with corpse mask. I can make what looks like terrible wounds on me look like bruises and contusions.
Let's see here. Does this allow you to do this to a living thing? Because that is
Worth
the
the reach.
One reach.
Yep.
on corpse mask.
Mhm.
Yep.
Oh yes, okay. On a living subject. I skipped that particular reach function. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So I'm going to do that because I don't want to alarm Catherine.
Drop your ghost shield and just cast this.
Are you going to take both reaches so that you can completely disguise the injuries? Or are you just going to make the injuries look like something other than what they were?
I don't think you need both reaches. Just the first.
No, just the one.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
It
'cause
says you can... With the
Change the
first one, it
corpse's
says,
appearance.
it says you alter the appearance of the injuries, but not that you make the injuries disappear.
Right. And I would probably stand by you can't even make them disappear. Like, they're still there. To hide them completely would be definitely like a death thing. All you're doing is messing with the injuries side of things.
And-
So,
The second reach doesn't say anything about the injuries. It just talks about changing the corpse's appearance.
Yeah, I can
Yeah,
change a
and
corpse into whatever I want it to be.
right. And I get where you're coming from, Ralph, of like, yeah, I just changed the appearance entirely and
Yes,
to hide them.
exactly.
I get that. But,
To reach, and if you can change the apparent age and sex of someone,
I can see
it
where
wouldn't
you
be
would go with
unreasonable from my perspective
Mhm.
if someone adjudicated that you could eliminate the injuries from appearance.
Right, but I can't eliminate the effect of the
Damage.
injuries on me.
Yeah.
Oh, of
So
course
if
not.
I look like I'm
No.
completely uninjured, but I'm still staggering around a lot,
Yeah, that's strange.
so I'm gonna change the wounds so they don't look like they're like near death wounds. They're just bruises and contusions.
You fell down the stairs at work.
Well, yeah, I slipped in the creek or something
Yep.
in the dark. Yeah,
And if Chad is asking, I thought we were going to Cloak then Theo. Well, Theo is supposed to be at Cloak's soul dive, so we need to resolve and figure out where Theo is first.
Mhm.
Thank you for checking in, though.
Yeah. So I got that spell queued up, -2, so I get the full day.
Okay.
I'm paying for advanced duration in the reach and then an instant cast. 'Cause I
And
don't wanna-
it's a duration spell, and you have Death 3, so you
Oh.
are already at a.
You're right. So never mind.
You're at a week.
So I'm rolling 5 dice.
Cool. And let me throw the reach at you because you've dropped Ghost Shield.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, here's another bashing wound for you, Craig. Unless, of course, you don't. Okay. Cool. Yeah, so go ahead and roll your 5 dice. Wait. 6 dice.
5.
4 plus 2,
What?
6.
Right, but now I'm bashing 1, so it's 5.
Oh, because your wound penalty. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. 3 successes, I'll take it.
Cool. Yeah, so what do you... The necrosis of your leg now becomes...
That, like, I slipped and fell, so there may be a minor gash and some abrasions and contusions and stuff like that, but I wanted to make it look like I just slipped. And that's-
The very... I threw myself over the handlebars of my bike, Mom. It's like this sucks, but I'm not like deathly injured.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. And yeah, so you roll into Theo's camp. Looking beat up. Had to tumble down a hill.
Cool.
Catherine quickly jumps into like mom mode. And it's like, okay, hang on, sit down. And fortunately and also negatively, you don't have any Actine to spray on all the cuts and make it suck worse. But on the same time, we gotta make sure that these don't get infected.
Pour alcohol on them.
Yep.
But I do have holistic awareness.
Oh,
And I have a supply of herbs and things like that. So I would like to spend some time with Catherine's help treating myself.
Absolutely. I forgot you had that. Please, can you read the whole merit if you have that handy?
Oh, you're going to make me look it up.
I'm not going to look it up. This is your merit.
If you would have put it in Conco, then maybe somebody would have added detail like Kamo. Page references.
But yeah, if I remember correctly, it basically lets you perform medicine stuff without necessarily having surgery stuff.
I just Googled like Mage 2E and the name of the merit and then pull up the ones I need that aren't in my base book.
And here is the details.
Sometimes there's a risk there because there are writers at the beginning of some sections that preclude you from taking some. Like with supernatural merits in particular.
Right.
There are a bunch of them where you can't take it, and it doesn't say it in the merit. It says it right before the section.
Oh, it says unless the patient suffers non-bashing wound penalties.
Wound penalties.
Because I'm all...
You're not suffering lethal wound penalties. You're merely suffering lethal wounds.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So basically, you don't have enough lethal to take you all the way over there. Yep. So you're good.
Okay.
Occultists can't heal your chopped off arm.
Right, yes. Okay.
Cool. So yeah, go ahead and roll. Wits and survival to gather necessary supplies. So I'm not even going to have you do that. I'm just going to have you roll. I believe it's simply wits plus medicine, but let me double check real quick. Healing. It's not there. That's fine. That's why I have Chronicles of Darkness core book. Because considering how many lethal you've taken, I do want to make sure that we do this properly. Oh, it would help if I'm not in the God Machine Chronicle part of this. Sources of harm. Oh, do you really not have just a little healing section? I could have sworn.
Yeah, there's a brief reference to it in Mage 2e book, and I think there is one as well in Chronicles of Darkness. I think it downgrades lethal to bashing.
That is what I was remembering too, and I'm trying to see.
And anybody in chat, of course, would be helpful if people know exactly where that reference is.
Come on, nerds, help me out. But in the meantime, you guys basically have some time together to get stuff fixed up, healed up, and medicine skill 96.
I got there right before you said that.
Let's see here. In the field or ER, it is dexterity plus medicine. And take a +2 with Catherine's help.
Let's see.
Cool. So that downgrades 1 lethal to bashing?
Let's see here. I'm reading over real quick.
Read the third paragraph. I mean, you might need to make an exception here, but it suggests it's an extended action. It's around the clock care to do that.
Right, gotcha. Yeah, so basically that's going to heal the bashing wound initially, but yeah, if you're basically...
Well, that would be healed on its own by the time I got back, right?
Yeah, we said that one was already gone.
Oh yeah, that's true. So yeah, this might be based on this long-term care, the interval is
Okay.
1 hour. So we can actually make that intelligence plus medicine, and each lethal wound would then start downgrading to bashing.
Okay.
Doesn't need 5 successes.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So that's 4. How many total do you have?
4.
Cool. So that's 4 successes. Well, we'll count that first one in there too.
Okay.
Just to speed things along, especially since basically you're rolling dexterity and medicine, which was less than your intelligence. So that's 1 lethal wound down. And you can keep going for another hour and, kind of work with Catherine to see how long, or you can be like, okay, that's good enough for now, or however you'd like to do it.
I got a little bit of time, so I'll
Sure.
go another hour.
Sure. I'm going to be the same roll.
Okay. I rolled it.
Oof.
There it is. Nope.
Nope.
Okay. Now I'll
So-
have to do.
Another 2 hours. Yeah, and that's the same thing. You can, kind of limp around a little bit and, check in later with Catherine and spend an hour of changing your changing your band-aids, get some boo-boo kisses, stuff like that.
Right.
We all know how well those work. Cool. But it does take us then overnight. Go ahead and get a willpower back, because I believe you were close to out.
Yeah, I was dead empty.
Yep. So give that other willpower back to kind of feel a little bit better. And how do we pick up with Theo and Jean-Paul preparing for this soul dive?
I think she was going to be there at midnight. I think was the plan.
Gotcha.
That was the plan.
Okay.
Mhm.
And so that's so actually let me retcon that slightly. So that night, the 14th, or
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you don't get the willpower back.
Okay.
Because you didn't have your overnight rest. But yeah, so
Yeah, that's fine.
check in with Catherine, get your wounds bandaged up, and then make your way out. Pack up. Which Catherine is kind of like, hang on, are you like really? I think. Go ahead.
The card I'm playing is that they're building. He asked me for this favor, and they're building us a homestead.
She nods. She's like, okay. So he's expecting you tonight.
Yeah.
Okay. You're gonna stay here until he comes and picks you up.
Okay.
Because I don't want you walking out there in the dark, because I'm imagining Theo does a lot of this stuff just, without a lantern or anything like that. Yeah. So she's like, you can go if Jean-Paul comes and is able to keep an eye on you. I'm trusting him with you, but I'm not gonna trust you with you right now.
Okay. That's probably a good idea.
The way you just came home, yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, no.
Because I believe, and because we talked about it a little bit, like if Theo had fallen unconscious in the graveyard, Cloak would have, John Paul would have come to find her. So eventually
Absolutely.
it comes down to find her at the wagon. And Catherine pulls you to the side, and she's like,
Okay.
Mr. Broussard, we haven't had a lot of talk together, but you and my Theo are getting along, well, and I appreciate that, and I understand that you are doing this in exchange for building us a house, and I greatly appreciate that, and grabs like your arms at like the elbows, this kind of half pulled in close thing. She says, but if you let anything happen to my Theo, I'm gonna burn that barracks of yours down.
Jean-Paul, he pauses, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then looks her in the eyes and smiles as sincerely as he can.
So I'm sure Catherine is smiling too, but yeah.
And he says that if anything happens to Madame Stokes while she is with me, I certainly won't be alive for you to punish afterwards.
And like, damn right. Pats Jean-Paul and kind of goes and gets Theo and helps Theo up and like make sure that you've got her, and then okay, and then like goes back and like once Theo starts walking off, you definitely know she's gonna be up all night until you get back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So, as we move away, Cloak, abandons the pleasantries, or the mood he was evoking for Catherine's benefit, and asks Theo bluntly, "How did you sustain your injuries?"
Can I suppress a spell without dropping it?
Nope.
Okay.
Not unless you're an Arcmaster.
I was exploring the ghosts in the graveyard, and one of them took exception to my investigations.
Why did you allow it to harm you?
I was trying to help it, actually. I thought that if I had gave it a semblance of sentience, this is all kind of complicated. Mostly they're not even communicative, they're just mindlessly going through whatever activity they're locked in. But I saw one that was able to communicate coherently. I thought maybe if I made one of the weaker one's patterns closer towards that other one, that it would be able to communicate, and it was able to communicate, but it was very aggressive.
Did you kill it?
Not yet.
But it tried to kill you.
Not yet.
Definitely tried to kill me, but I thought it better to get out of that situation.
When do you want to kill it?
After I've healed up. My wounds may not look very bad, but it took a lot out of me.
Why have you not healed them?
Well, that's not within my ability to do.
There's pattern restoration, but...
Right.
I showed you how to do it.
Yes, but my pattern is a little drained at the moment.
Why don't you take it from me?
Because I'm not sure how I feel about that. You're an ally and a companion. I don't want to cause you injury. It's not a gentle process. I think I know how to do it. I think I can, but I wouldn't want to inflict injury on someone else because of mistakes I made.
Why would it injure me?
Well, when you draw mana from your own pattern, it leaves a wound or an injury behind. But that's just basically you shifting it around within your own pattern. Ripping it out entirely is a whole other thing, I think. I haven't tried it yet, but...
Will you be better if you do this to me?
I think it would do more harm to you than the benefit I would gain from it. Or rather, I would have to do significantly more harm for you in order for me to be able to benefit from it.
If you can think of a way for it to be an equivalent exchange, I'm willing and ready.
I appreciate that. I'll have to give it some thought and find somebody I really don't like in the town and do some experiments first. Or maybe that goes.
Ike.
Ike, who's done absolutely nothing to any of you except talk some shit.
Except be a jerk.
He's still a person. Yep. I'm going to repeat what I said in Blades in the Dark. Everyone's a person.
Yep.
Ghosts do have a pattern, and maybe I can wrest some mana from their pattern.
Just saying, talk about someone in town you don't like.
I think it would be just desserts.
You pay it back.
If it attempted to kill you, even if you wait before you exercise your right to self-defense, it is still self-defense in my mind.
There's an argument there.
That's how cloak functions.
It's not so clear in my head. I'm not sure how responsible they are for their actions.
But you said that they were able to think when they did this to you.
But I don't know that maybe I didn't give it enough. Maybe I didn't give it the right stuff. That I just made it more powerful and aware, but still trapped in its existence. Like there's a ghost there that just endlessly hammers its fist against its headstone. And that's all it is able to do. And if I try and interrupt that, well, when I've done so in the past, they get very aggressive. because I've broken the pattern, and sometimes when you break people's expectations, they react violently.
Well, and specifically
That's
just to
quite true.
little thing, they tend to try and drag you into whatever it is. So some of them, are just super melancholy and aren't necessarily physically violent, but yeah.
So I'm still learning about all this, but I don't know how responsible they are for their behavior.
I might be able to help you understand that. If you can transform a ghost into the point where it has a functioning mind, I can help you gain insight into its mind.
I would be interested to know if they have a mind, actually.
Maybe they don't. I just assume that anything that makes choices has a mind.
But there's a difference between a mind and a... She says a supernal word for mind.
Okay.
Or
Indeed.
there might be.
There might be.
Mm-hmm.
We can't all be an ideal. Perhaps
True.
there's a spectrum, or there's a fixed threshold past which things have real minds that we can't understand.
Well, next time we go into the graveyard, I may bring you along with me if you're interested.
I am quite interested,
I think that's
especially based on what I said to Catherine, if you are likely to suffer harm again.
Oh, I'll be much more careful this time.
I think that's when we make it to the mine.
Alright.
Because, man, Craig, Ralph, I love you guys, but hang on, we got to pause the nerding out occasionally. Ooh. But no, that's very good. And also, Noctal putting in a really good one that touches both the Mastigos and Moros in me. What happens if you summon the Goetia out of the mind of a ghost?
Ooh, that's a great question.
That's an obsession for you.
Ooh, yeah.
Even Chris seems slightly... Oh, never mind. No, Chris is out. So
No interest.
Don't do this.
So we pick up. I imagine you guys are heading to the mine for the sacred place, the meditation room.
Yes.
And this time, I guess Theo is not going to be meditating. Is just going to be like mage sight on, what the fuck is going on mode.
Yeah. Any insights she can gather from her own abilities is Cloak's perspective. Because he doesn't know for sure, what death can tell her.
Mm-hmm.
He just knows that she has an interest in this stuff and has the greatest experience of the group at this point.
Yeah,
right?
especially with souls.
So,
yeah.
Yes, exactly. So
Cool.
might be relevant.
I'm not going to make you roll resolve plus
All right.
resolve plus composure plus what umpteen billion dice, because I mean this is what John Paul does. Meditation is at this point probably second nature. But sorry, Chris calling up some shit in chat here. Only 5 acceptable arcana: matter, life, space, spirit, forces, and prime. All others go straight to
Let
jail.
me think about this. Acanthoi and Mastigoi go straight to jail.
Yep.
You interpreted everything correctly.
And Moros barely get to show up. Anyways, yes.
You're on thin fucking ice. Better use your matter to solve that problem.
Cool.
That's a hilarious pun. Oh yeah, that's hilarious.
So for Theo, mage sight to obviously watch what is happening, but do you take any other actions to like prepare for observation?
I kind of want to... I think I want to scrutinize what's happening to his soul when he does that.
Right. And that's kind of what I figured you'd end up doing. Okay.
Yeah.
Cloak, before he enters, also says, "Do you want to see what is happening while I'm in there?"
Oh. If you can do that, I'd be interested.
Telepathy.
But I also don't want to intrude. It seems very personal.
It will be personal, but I did invite you here. I don't think you witnessing what happens will make me feel any different about the experience.
But it might make...
However, it might make you feel different about me.
Well, I think you're... Is it the Loa? I'm sorry, I don't...
Metet?
Your Metet may have a different opinion.
That's true. Yours did, it seemed.
Definitely.
All right, fair enough. In the interest of caution.
And if this is your first time meeting your Metet, perhaps that should be done without observation.
Yes, let's do that. Okay. So, you might have less information, but we'll do what we can.
I will be examining your soul while that's going on, if that's okay.
Yes, I am hopeful we will gain insight from this process.
Okay.
These nerds. I can't leave them alone in a room. The other two, they go off on an
You need to look at a
adventure
soul.
and go into a cave. These two, we're going to sit together. We're going to stare at your soul while you go into your soul. So come on. No. I'm so psyched for this. Yes. As we begin the meditation, and yes.
I'm going to spend a willpower.
Oh, thank you.
To activate Astral Adept.
Right. I forgot. Thank you.
What's that do?
Happy to stay above board with everything.
That
What was that, Ash?
That allows Jean-Paul can meditate into the astral anywhere. Doesn't need a soul stone to create a domain. Doesn't need a hallow. Just anywhere. It's also a thing Drifter had because technically it means that I just need to meditate. Now I can pull stuff out of the Temenos.
Yep. It's awesome.
Hey, you let me do it, so I appreciate it. Yep.
Says it on the tin.
Cool. So Conca, locations, Jean-Paul's soul. Yes. So actually, let's get a little fluffy first. What does the step onto the astral path actually look like? Because before everything was this meditation and just closing eyes and having this lucid dream, but this is Jean-Paul taking that step farther and actually stepping onto this path. What does it feel like? What does it look like?
So, in his mind, he wants to return to... where would he start? What anchors his soul in his mind? There's a lot of aspects of Haiti, of course, that influence it, so I'm trying to think of one location. The last time he was ever really able to feel anything like this, he was, like, in the... probably in... the hold or the refuge of the cult. That led by his mentor. Go ahead.
I mean more specifically in because I know you've seen the Rookery. Hey, you guys go watch the Rookery if you want to go watch 168 episodes.
Check it out, folks.
Because like for instance, Atratus kind of shrunk down within herself. Weird stepped up and stepped into this brambles and thorns. Those that's the vibe, the imago of this. Because I have your Oneros, your landing, I got that covered. Though fortunately we're on the same page.
Good. Okay, gotcha. So in Cloak's mind, then he is trying to find the main chain that connects his soul to his mind and traveling along it. And it looks like he's dragging himself down it. So in Cloak's mind, of course, journeys are filled with hardship. So in this, as he travels along it, his soul is being laid bare. So in his mind, he's grasping the links of a chain and pulling himself deep, arm over arm, hand over hand. And as he's doing it, his body is getting abraded by barbs on the chains.
Yeah. I'm kind of pulling in my head, it is... it starts there and then soon becomes, instead of pulling deeper, your motion hasn't changed, but now you are coming up and it is hard to breathe and the water is pressing on you. You pull up, grab hold and pull yourself up onto the dock.
Cool.
And looking about, you can see, well, it's Haiti. It's, maybe Port-au-Prince, but not quite. Everything's a little bit different. It's clearly the portions of your memories and some stuff is like doubled up because you don't remember exactly what was there. So I'm just going to put that same building there, and it's a little bit jumbled. You pull yourself up, and what does your astral form look like?
So Cloak's astral form is getting closer and closer to, which after this session, I think it's going to be completely, the shadow name we discussed. But you can well, I guess the audience would witness this. Cloak's astral form is let's see, what we're going to say. Cloak in his left hand, it is a surprise to him. He's holding a knobbed cane. And as he steps up onto the dock and starts to walk idly along the path, he notices that in this form, the limp he used to suffer from has returned. He's wearing an open jacket, which reminds him of the duster he used to wear, but it clearly looks like an archaic representation of something a conductor or a presenter would wear.
Maybe it has tails.
Not in the context. Yes, exactly. Yeah, so definitely looks like it's refined, but also custom. So it isn't a long tuxedo jacket necessarily, but it has a number of those aesthetics. It has a big collar that's fluffed up, and then on top of his head is a top hat. And then the other thing that he notices as he's looking around and stuff like that, despite all those things, he is bigger. His presence there, from as far as he can tell, as he walks past the dream water, the soul water, the oniric water, the reflection of him looks much more massive than he remembers himself being.
Mm-hmm.
And so he looks dense and resilient, and as though his presence here is more intense than he thought it could be.
Sure, I like it. As you kind of look around, as you mentioned, this is a wharf. There is signs of life. There are people moving about. You've got, people lugging stuff over shoulders. You've got carts. You've got folks hawking wares, for lack of a better term. People are talking about fish, fresh fish. You've got, people, standing atop boxes, exclaiming goods that have just, come in from Florida or Mexico. A few, boasting things from, from England or, the Dutch. This is just, what am I talking about? Anyways, but yeah, there's just this constant flow of people. You've got the salt on the wind, and I don't know that it necessarily feels like home so much as a stopping point, holdover. And you can see these ships, small ones, fast ones, small ones, large ones, all of which look ready to go and have, captains or some other, staff calling for people to board. All these ships ready to go anywhere, everywhere. And you have their names across the back in, I imagine all French, but I'm not going to abuse that language. And you have
no worries.
Bizarre things. Like, why would you name a ship Regret? Like, that sounds like a bad name for a ship. And that one's Guilt. Okay, no, also not great. But there's one. And oops, crap. 1 second. I don't want Jean Paul's soul. I want Jean Paul, the character. Oh wait, are you in here as Cloak? Crap.
He's in there as Jean Paul.
It's the hyphen. That's what got me. But yes. Oh, I don't have your mentor's name in here.
We didn't choose one.
Oh, okay. Well, that explains why. But yes, you have, their name emblazoned on one of the ships. You have others that are, actually, I think you have, one that, is literally Purgatory Bluff. And all these ships. But then also there is this chain that's drawing you towards into the city itself. And the things that you can see there, and they're ways away, but you see these shops that have, the shingle sitting out. And you can see one that is emblazoned that you immediately recognize that says Mind. It's just a shop of Mind. So what the fuck is in there? Who knows?
Interesting. So Cloak wants to get his bearings, and although he usually makes really deliberate choices, he's going to ask a question of someone here. So there's a dock worker, somebody next to one of the ships of regret. Or Regret a Guild or something like that. Let's go up to Regret. He goes up to somebody who's like unloading boxes. And then he's about to ask a question, and it surprises him because he's going to ask something directly and assertively, but it doesn't come out of his mouth that way. It comes out of his mouth in, let's say, a more politic manner, and it sounds more pleasant. And it comes out like this. Good afternoon, sir. Might you tell me where this ship is going?
The immediate dock worker just kind of looks at you and like grabs a box and he's like, and just walks onto the ship and just kind of, just doesn't even give you a response. But another man who is, a little more dressed up, overhearing and looking, says, yeah, it's going to Regret. What do you want?
I want to know what regret I might see.
It's Regret. There's only one, well, not one Regret, but it's Regret. Big ol' island. What do you want? Like, how do you live here and not know where Regret is?
I don't live here.
You sure look like you do.
Well, perhaps I was mistaken. Let me ask a different question, which is, if I go to Regret, do you think I can also get from there to self-sacrifice?
I mean, probably there's a lot of stuff that goes to and from Regret.
Well then, you have another passenger.
Grab a box. And like turns in like suddenly you find yourself a dock worker, and load up a box. Cool. And in the Way of the Astral, which I love so much, it just narratively, and then there's an hour of arduous loading some stuff up, and the ship takes off. Meanwhile, outside, Theo, you are watching as this happens, and you're watching his soul, and I imagine. And feel free to fluff this with your own imago kind of aspect of it. But there's this, the glowing soul, and especially it's an awakened soul. And it just kind of, instead of this flowing, reaching out kind of aspect and this, soul that can just do anything because it's awakened, all of a sudden just kind of pulls up tight and taut and not necessarily like squeezed, but just inward and not necessarily a torus, but it just kind of flows inward onto itself, and kind of twists, as instead of facing outward, it seems to be facing inward.
Cool. That's definitely a path to explore.
Mark that one down.
Is there some scrutiny I can do to get a sense of how he's doing it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, roll Gnosis plus, death, unless you want to throw matter at it, but I don't suggest it.
No, this is totally this whole thing. This is all death.
Will Chris ever go into jail if you use death?
Mm-hmm. True.
Nope.
Yeah, looking at this, and just I imagine there is this aspect of like what, and just like it's just flowing right over.
Yep.
Theo's head. What is? There we go. Sorry, had to update that for Twitch. I didn't want to scroll down. There we go. But yeah, in that course of a minute, hours of labor passes for Jean-Paul within, and the ship takes off, and it's smooth sailing, like around not Port-au-Prince, but then you hit, storming seas. The ship starts rocking. There's some other actual passengers, high and well-to-do, let's be honest, white lords and ladies kind of folks.
Yeah, the French.
Right. Puking over the side, other, sailors laughing at them. You've got this manic captain who's just thrilled to challenge a storm. And as this is all kind of, gusting and blowing, I need you to make a, I know this is going to be kind of your thing anyways, but a strength plus stamina roll.
All right.
Or actually, excuse me, as this is a, we are in the astral, I need you to make a
Presence plus resistance roll.
Power plus resistance, yes.
Power, sorry.
Which is either going to be your intelligence or social stats. You cannot use your physical stats here.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And merits apply normally, right?
As far as I can see, yes. So like strength,
Okay,
like your strength performance, if that's what you're talking about, I'm fine with you using that.
Yeah. Okay, wonderful. So that gives me 1 there. And then it is... Yeah. Okay, so that's 6 successes.
Holy moly. Yeah, so you are, battered by, the wind and rain. And while other people seem to, be getting, hit by this and knocked about, this storm has it in for you. Like it just seems to be hitting you the hardest. But you kind of, make your way through, and in, again, it's the astral, so things flow at narrative speed. There's, crashing, thunder and lightning crashing. I was actually kind of hoping that Houston was going to help me out here, but no, apparently don't have any storms tonight. But just constant rain. Anyways, and then you find yourselves pulling up to a dock on this misty, dark island. The rain is still coming down, but now instead of a big, impressive, storm, it's now just to a slow, dreary, ever-present drizzle. And the dock, the gangplank comes down and stuff starts to unload, stuff starts to load, and you have a hand on your back that just pushing you out onto the dock. And you find yourself stumbling off the dock and into a room.
Cool. Before we do that, what condition do I get? It might be relevant.
Oh, that's true. I don't know, because this is more of a physical thing, and we can use social stats, but
I mean, it's a physical representation.
Yep.
So
that's true. I will have to think on that. Actually, yeah, let's it's not quite accurate because triumphant is in reference to like dual arcane, but something along those lines of like,
okay,
this big...
Do you want to pin it for now and we deal with it later?
Yeah, and I mean, if you find a situation where it's like, ooh, this would be, feel free to throw that at me.
You can also be inspired to deal with regret.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Dealt with a storm that was thrown at you, and a little empowered. Yeah, that's kind of where I was going anyways. I like that.
Great.
But yeah, you find yourself stepping down the gangplank, and rather than foot landing on the wood of the dock, you find yourself stepping into a room. It's I wouldn't say it's a hovel, but it's a small home, and you immediately recognize where you're at. You recognize what you were doing that night, and you recognize the other men, I would assume, who are with you. And no, we don't have to wear masks for this. We don't come. We just boldly kick down doors and come for people. All right.
Looks looking around. Is this the first one he did?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I figured. After they gave him that option.
Yep.
Right, so in Cloak's mind, he's recalling, if I can contribute to the narrative and the history. In Cloak's mind, he's recalling that after, independence in Haiti, and things being so tough, and the imposition of an autocratic regime, and these tradings off of, you know, who was in charge, and the fact that most of the populace still had to labor under duress to keep the economy going, right? Cloak grew up in effective slavery, right? Just by his own people. So he reached this point where they gave him a choice, and they knew that he was resilient, so he could help maintain the status quo, or he could keep getting beaten. And so he made, for him, was an easy choice, which was to join the people, imposing this condition on everyone else. And so I think this would be the first abduction or beating that he participated in.
Pushing you forward, that hand that was pushing you down the gangplank, and it's like, yeah, do it.
Yeah, okay. So Cloak, and I'll avoid for the sake of the audience and everyone else, you know, describing in too much detail, but Cloak follows the directions. He hurts someone. He goes up, and it doesn't look like he regrets it in the moment. In his mind, he's making a simple choice, and it had to be this way because he couldn't put up with what he was suffering anymore. And he thinks that if this person deserved compassion, then they would join the group that he's a part of as well. So,
yep. And walk through that. And does Jean-Paul try to change this?
No. Jean-Paul realizes that, okay, this is what's going to happen. He's going to probably need to get to a point where he interprets his experiences differently. And he can't hide from them anymore, so he can't change what happened in the past. And he smiles inwardly because of his conversation with Theo, which really prepared him for this kind of thing, where they went into the memories and he asked certain questions, and she's like, look, I can't make it any different, but all I can do is try and do better in the future. And that's what's really inspired him to go on this journey.
And yeah, so you walk through and, you know, walk away from the door left open, hanging open into... I imagine they did most of their work at night, but...
Sometimes.
Gotcha.
Everyone knew they were coming, though, of course. Right? So it wasn't clandestine.
Mm-hmm.
It was, you made a mistake, and they're going to come and get you.
Right.
And when they do, just, inflict additional terror on the populace. People were aware of it. But yeah, nighttime is always the time for stuff like this.
Right. And as you are walking away, you have this kind of out-of-body experience. And I don't know what his proper voodoo name would be, but you feel the eyes, and I think it's that draw out of your own body and watch yourself walk away, and you see, well, you feel more than actually see Julio, your mentor, watching, and in my head, I because I believe we talked about a cane or a staff, and just watching as you and the rest of the young men, will say, right, walk away, and just the probably disgust, and just like, who are you people? What are you doing, and stuff like that, and as Jean-Paul, as Cloak sees this, and watching Jean-Paul walk away, then the memory kind of shifts and fades, and you find yourself, like, instead of on a wharf, you find yourself face down, sand and water splashing over your face on a shore. And you see just a little bit farther a woman, black Haitian, probably has her hair up tall, but, and just walking just very nonchalant across the sand. And just like there's a glance back over at you. She kind of does a slow turn, starts walking back towards you, and just walks right by you. Just kind of looking, and there's a, in French, this muttered, "You getting up?"
Might as well. Is Cloak still in the guise of a dock worker, or has he returned to his dream form?
Yeah, no, and like I said, you always were. You just found yourself in that role.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, cool. Fantastic.
But yeah, kind of.
So he gets up, and says, I'll follow your lead.
I mean, that's. I've been trying that for years, but that doesn't seem to work. But hey, now you're here and I can just yell in your face.
I seem to be caught off guard.
Really?
Do we know each other?
I know you. And I thought you knew me.
Cloak squints and says,
And you have definitely never seen this woman ever in your life.
he says, my Metet?
Sure, you can keep calling me that.
Is that not the right term?
And I think, like, decorum is, like, gone and just kind of reaches over and just thumps you a couple times in the forehead and says, Sure, but I'm also you.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Yeah, you got something wrong. Jean-Paul the Infallible has made a mistake. You've made tons of mistakes. Don't let this one get you down.
That's not what I mean.
Go on.
I'm just worried that I might have been in error when I attempted to advise a friend.
Perhaps, but...
And I'm worried that that might have put the relationship she would have with, I guess, her incarnation of you, in jeopardy.
Maybe. When you're done, yeah, let's and kind of looks up at the sky, which is this wonderful, like, sapphire blue, and it just kind of peels open, and just you have this moment of seeing Theo bent over and, like, just wide-eyed watching. I'm doing my best, Craig impression, and stuff like that. And there's no way in hell that Theo actually looks like that right now, but it's that intense, wild-eyed. It's the same feeling that you get inside when Jean-Paul is obsessed. And because I know people are talking about, every Damon is a sassy asshole. I'm not doing that on this one. This one just happens to be way less reserved in her emotions compared to Cloak. But yeah, and she's like, it's okay. Have a talk. We're learning this together, you and I. It's terrific. It's also terrifying.
Yes. Okay. So is there a term and Cloak says my speech, the speech for what you are in my mind?
See, this is the fun
if
thing.
If you are me, you know the speech.
Right. And we both speak the same speech, and we both have the same vocabulary. So you tell me, what do you call me? Right? See, I'm coming up with nothing either.
But wouldn't we have learned of this? Wouldn't we have learned of each other? I of you, you of me, when we went through when we walked the path and I signed my name.
I mean, I thought we learned everything, but then we're learning all sorts of things. Like this couple months in Purgatory Bluff. Let's be honest, This is the best, not the best time we've ever had, but we have learned so much.
We've learned a lot.
And we're learning that I'm right now, and grabs hold of your shoulders, right now, learning that we don't know what voodoo really is.
Yes. And then, of course, per Cloak, right, he says, we need to ask Papa Legba about that.
Yeah, we should. And kind of motions at you and says, sure, Legba.
Is that...
Don't ask me. You showed up like this.
I thought somebody was doing this to me.
No, I can do all sorts of stuff and like makes a motion in the air and the storm comes back and just and it's just storm.
And I just imagine like super fast, like clouds suddenly zoom in overhead.
Right, and then they roll right on.
Great.
She's like, I can do all sorts of stuff down here, but no, like this is you. This is your and I don't know that she would necessarily use the term, but this is your self-actualized self. Like, this is your view of you, and I'm in this body right now, and I'm kind of digging it, but I don't know if I'll keep it. Like, we're learning this, and I mean, are you Legba? Is Legba really out there? Like, we've seen some things. The things that Isabel has shown us. Actually, hang on. Because you've seen spirits. Yeah. Yep. The things we've seen, the other things, and mixed emotion, and an imp, from your awakening, just jaunts by. She's like, we have seen so much, but none of them are Loa.
Yes.
But we've been mounted. We felt something. There was someone else. So they're out there, but they're not out there the way we thought they were. And like, you can see the shift is just from manic, excitement to like, oh my God, this is terrifying. And I'm not sure what's going on. And so we need to figure this out.
What is really Guinea then? Where is it? How do we reach it? If I am Legba and I know connection,
right,
and I am to aid people in getting to the Loa,
right,
how do I do that? Is there a space other than this? Is there a different level?
There has to be, right? It can't just be us. How do we go from here to the others? And like points out towards the ocean, and there's this other island in the distance, and it's got this floating little or a ship rocking of like Isabel over next to it, and then kind of points over, and there's another Gisela looking into a book, and then Theo. It's like, they're out there, but I don't know how to get there from here. But there has to be something, right? There's a ship, and she throws out ship, but it comes out in mage as connection, right? In high speech. There's something.
We were told that Legba knows the way, that he motions to his leg, Cloak is motioning to his leg, limps because he walks in two worlds. Perhaps we just have to walk.
Walk, or and she kind of looks over to the shore, and this big, like, massive ship chain is laying there, and she goes, or we don't let go of the chain, and we see how deep it goes.
We go deeper.
I mean,
something white rabbit.
Right. I don't know. Do we have to hold our breath? But
if this is our mind,
I mean, then we don't have to hold our breath. Yes, but
why would we?
But deeper, and deeper takes us where? It's.
Is it higher?
Is it higher? Is it deeper? Is it darker? I don't know. But I want to.
What would Legba say? We learn of Guinea as a place above. Chains are heavy and weigh you down.
I mean, do we?
But once I've started, as we have scrutinized, we've learned that, and he used that in lowercase s, as we have scrutinized, we've learned that there are chains that lead people up, lead people higher.
I mean, you follow the chain here, and follow it upward, follow it without letting go. There has to be more.
My mentor said one thing to me before he put me in the room. He said that if I always try to solve problems by focusing on what I've known, that I won't be able to get to the point where my life is based on things I need to know. And Cloak said, Legba Cloak reaches out his hand to his daemon and takes the cane. And then taps on the sand and says, if the sea is connection, and he says with a capital C, then the sea must take us where we need to be. And even though I don't know what's down there, we'll see what happens. And he tries to walk along the chain and then just walk into the water.
Just walk along the chain. I love that. And yeah, she, she holds your hand for that minute until you step onto the chain and kind of, steps back, and you watch as this very ramshackle but kind of cozy little hut just kind of forms up around her as she steps back, and it starts to rain again, and she just kind of watches you walk. Good luck. Come back.
I'll return.
Right. Meanwhile, outside, Theo, it's been maybe an hour, and you watch as as Cloak's Jean-Paul's soul starts to twist and shape, and instead of being so formed inward onto itself, it seems to kind of relax again, and kind of reach out the way it had before.
Can I try history again?
Yes, please do.
Yeah. Do it.
One.
Yay.
Cool. Yeah, and I definitely feel like this is definitely going to be a higher opacity kind of thing, but definitely making some progress along the understanding, because you're basically trying to understand this mind to Menno stuff from the angle of death, and it's just this is kind of backwards. It's like studying the car to understand the driver.
Well, I'm trying to understand what's happening in his soul. Is
right.
he inside his soul, or
right? No, I get you. Yeah, and it's it's okay, hang on. It was definitely an inward thing, but now it's not, and I don't know where he's going. And especially for Theo, there's absolutely no context of even the Temenos, right? So it's where the hell is he going? I don't know, but he's definitely moving. Yes.
I was going to say studying a car crash to figure out how stoplights work.
That's very good. Yeah. And so, but yeah, you're definitely studying, and I definitely feel looking at his soul and studying the soul is a huge thing. I definitely feel you're also starting to notice it's ooh, death is really good for noticing a soul and studying some of the marks on it, but there's a lot going on in here, because I think this is probably the first time Theo has had a chance to actually study somebody's soul at all. Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's there's more going on here than just death. I think you're probably seeing the other subtle arcana that make it up and realizing, and because what I feel, and the other way to look at it is you're using death and you're feeling, okay, well, this is the mind thing. Oh, the mind thing is doing a lot here. I don't know what, but it's doing a lot. While, the spirit and prime aspects are kind of sitting back. I feel like I'm missing one.
That's awesome.
Your fate. Yeah.
Fate.
But yes, Cloak walks the chain, and I feel into the water and just keeps walking. And I believe you need to make a resolve plus composure roll to actually breach this, which again, good for an easy one.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. It is his thing.
And I don't believe this will get any bonuses from your meditative mind, because I think this is a little bit different. But
it gets all resolve composure get +3.
Okay.
Once you get the 4 dots.
That's perfect. Yeah. So 3 successes and just walking the chain. And what is the forethought? I imagine in your mind is probably. Is it the Loa? Is it Legba himself? What is the thing on your mind?
In his mind, he's thinking, I don't know what Guinea is. Mm-hmm. So I need to walk along a path that I can see until I get into a place that is pure connection and understanding. Like Cloak is trying to take a journey along a path he witnesses to get to a point where he doesn't know where he is.
Sure.
And so going deeper, submerging himself below the water, right? Because in the mind, he can see the islands and be like, those are places I need to go. And he sees a chain connecting the island he's on further deeper. And he's thinking deep in terms of magnitude,
Sure.
not like level.
Right. No, and I get now here, because unfortunately that gives me the general idea of, well, we're going to land in the Temenos, but
Oh, okay, gotcha. Then I'll be more specific. So he's thinking that he's Legba, he needs to find connection. So yeah, he'll try and find Legba.
Okay.
He wants to talk to Legba.
That's kind of what I thought. Cool. Perfect.
Cool, great.
Oh, good. So we cut back to Isabel and Gisela in the cave, and we can throw at least our first set of dice at this. Are we casting spells? Are we scrutinizing? How are we going to go forward with this?
I'm just going to be scrutinizing.
Okay.
Probably in a lot of ways, like start with Prime because that's how I found it.
Absolutely.
And then I don't expect that to work great because I'm still just learning it.
Mm-hmm.
And then switching to other ones.
Okay,
but
cool. For Prime, this is an opacity 1. I do not feel like a Hallow is all that opaque in terms of when studying with Prime. And what about for Isabel?
I can start with studying with Spirit.
Okay.
That's your
Oh no.
I want to try again with the willpower, so it'll be a +2, right?
Yes.
What's my opacity?
For Spirit, I think is also probably just a 1. Like, I feel like these things are so. There we go, 3 successes. Yeah, I feel like these are so fundamental to those particular arcana that it should just kind of yield. So what's really fun is because you're studying them from 2 different directions, we're going to get 2 very different answers. So,
oh yeah.
We'll start with Isabel's because it's far more interesting. Because if I remember correctly, Locust has a gauntlet of 0, right? Yeah. So I imagine putting on the Focus Mage sight and then peering through just this little, pull the slit open of the door and look through and see basically this chamber, but with one whole huge swath of it just taken out.
I can't see across it.
No. Literally, we're more figurative. We're being more figurative in terms of your.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and basically seeing like this peek through and realizing that there's the cavern and then more stuff on the other side, and then realizing that more stuff is not a filter over your eyes and seeing twilight and stuff like that, but there is a whole other fucking world over on that other side.
I finally found a weak point in the wall that has surrounded me.
Yeah, and probably for the first time realized how much that what is on the other side of the wall. Yeah.
Right.
Actually, look at this, spooked the crap out of me. Do you think that up until now, Isabel was even aware of the gauntlet?
She knew there was some sort of blocking thing.
Gotcha.
She has not seen or gotten across in any way, shape, or form.
Cool. But yeah, like this is a literal weak spot, and from my perspective, a door. It is a weak point because a door is a weak point in a wall,
right?
But it can just be pulled open. Meanwhile, and it's also a font of essence too, if I remember correctly, right? Yeah. Meanwhile, for Gisela, you're looking at this and recognizing effectively pure mana, like this little bubbling fountain of it. It's small. It's a 2-dot hallow. But like it is significant in the fact that it is this untouched, pure deepness of the earth. touched only by water and very few even animals. It's untouched by weather, and it's just slowly over eons growing just from the flow of water, and that's it. I don't know if she would necessarily interpret it this way, but it feels like this sacred, hallowed place. And because of that, it is welling up with essence. Oh, excuse me, not essence. Well, yes, but also mana. And notably, just from studying it, I feel like you realize that a lot of the water that is currently draining out and is around your feet is like teeming with mana.
Drink it.
And Ash is also fighting background sounds.
Drink the water.
Yeah, I'm going to do a stupid thing and scoop the water up in my hands and drink it.
Yay!
This is a good way to get so many diseases.
Kids at home, don't do this. Do not drink the cave water.
Don't do this.
Fortunately, there isn't
But yeah.
a lot of defecation happening around
Yeah.
here, so it's
Just a little bit of
safer now.
Just some
than-
fish.
Just some rotten animals.
But even the rotten animals, most of that's just going to get blown and flushed
Right.
out.
Washed
Yep.
away.
But yeah, the water is cold. What did you say, Chris? 55 degrees? Cave water? Yep. Cold, but surprisingly, like, eerily, unnaturally, supernaturally refreshing. And then, yeah, you restore a point of mana. And Chris, you've got a spell
Okay.
lined up here.
Sure do.
What you do?
I'm gonna
Yeah,
take me a
I don't know.
little scoop of this essence.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna turn to her and be like, the water is.
Look, there's all this mana here. What do
Magic?
you mean, mana? There's all this essence here. Yep.
I don't.
Oh, and I don't.
All right, you keep drinking all the water. I'm gonna use my magic to grab this.
Which does remind me, how much of a gap do you? How much empty mana you got? If that makes sense.
4.
Okay, cool.
Oh, you went up to
How much
Spirit
I'm
3?
grabbing?
Awesome.
I did.
Yep. So yeah, no overreach. So yeah, roll your 4, 6, 8.
Sounds right.
Chris is back.
Yep. Sounds right.
One is good enough.
1 is good enough.
And with that, you draw in 4 essence.
What? This is perhaps a good time to talk about this. Generally, spirits can only feed off of essence that is
Themed.
within their sort of theme. So, what is my sort of resonance or theme?
Because if I remember correctly, you can have multiple resonances on an essence, right?
Sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I definitely feel like this is, deep and, aquatic and underground and dark.
Sure. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. I don't think unliving is necessarily, or sterile is necessarily a thing.
Maybe weaving practice to change the resonance of an essence in my pattern.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, that's no problem. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I believe that's because I know you can do it with higher spirit when you just make essence, you can give it whatever resonance. So weaving would make sense to actually just change it, reflavor it. But yeah, I appreciate it's like water. You're going essence is like, wait, what are you talking about?
I mean it feels like water,
Oh,
but like done got my mana batteries all wet.
that's true. Yeah, and that's true because and on Gisela's side, you can tell that Isabel just cast a spell.
Yeah. Is it?
What are you getting from it?
Essence.
I don't know what that is.
Spirit.
Juice.
Juice?
Cannon.
It's like what the eat?
How they power themselves?
Can
But yes,
you
what
use
they
that?
eat. A bargaining chip is what I would see it as.
Well, if you want mana for doing magic, you can get that too here.
I seem to be full.
Trying to figure out how we get back here. Assuming you survive your night with the river.
Don't worry about that.
Okay,
It'll be easy.
sure. But yeah, I want to be able to get back here.
Okay.
Do you think we could make like a...
I mean, how far down do you think we came?
The cave crawl is, 100 feet, but depth wise,
How about a survival check?
yeah, please.
We've got all these dots burning holes in our.
Yeah, I can assist.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds great.
So you guys do cave diving geometry.
Wits?
Yes.
Add 2.
Okay. 4 successes.
Cool. By your count, like you're maybe 5-6 feet below the surface, depending on what's exactly above you. But directly above you is solid stone.
Yeah. I mean, a couple sticks of dynamite would accomplish it real quick.
And maybe destroy it?
Maybe. I don't know. But I'm not going to spend a night in the river every time we want to come down here.
Oh, wait, you haven't had your first one yet.
Speaking of some dynamite.
Oh no.
Poor Layla.
Baby dog.
But regardless, that's actually a good spot for us to pause. You guys can kind of chat about some of this stuff off stream and kind of figure out, hey, how do we get out of here? So abusing.
How do we get back?
A rope.
Oh yeah,
That we definitely tied.
sure. So we have a flashback scene. Thanks, Blades of the Dark. Yeah, but yeah, because that was the whole purpose of the rope. So yeah, I imagined you guys had
Right.
prepared yourselves. But yes, specifically not get out of here, but how to get back. As always, thank you all for joining us. This has been a blast, and also managed to. This is 2 cliffhangers now because we had what's going on in the cave and what the hell is going on in John Paul's Oniros. Oops, nope, we're off to the Temenos now. Gonna go meet Papa Legba, but also I look like Papa Legba. That's
Yeah, what's going on?
that's not gonna have any kind of repercussions whatsoever. Yeah. So yes, very good stuff. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, my players, for this. This is a blast. I was kind of concerned about trying to juggle these 2 kind of activities, and it actually worked out really well. And Craig, thank you for not dying because you scared the bejesus out of me. No, I'll just keep my mage sight on for a little bit longer. I'm like, ah! Thanks.
You're about to have to re-roll a fucking Abrimos, my dude.
Just gonna casually walk up to the ghost and let it touch you.
I was like, I was cool with like the first touch, but it's
Theo
like,
had no idea what was going to happen.
oh yeah, no,
Yeah,
it was very
that's fair,
good.
but
And,
like,
I mean, make mistakes, get messy. Thank you, Miss Frizzle. Yes, all of you at home, thank you for joining us on Twitch. It was always great to have you guys live. For YouTube folks, thanks for the comments, the likes, and the little bell things and stuff like that. Please feed the algorithm.
Feed me.
Feed me, Seymour.
Feed me, Seymour.
Yeah, with that,
You can't say it like that. What the fuck was that voice tone?
Who, me?
Me.
Oh, Drew.
Oh, okay.
Because I know this is the best way to end this. Never seen the movie. I have no idea what that character's voice even
I
sounds
haven't
like.
either, but I know how it
I've just
sounds.
seen GIFs. I've never actually heard. Anyway, thank you all for joining us, and I hope to see you all next week. I'll be a
See you
year
soon.
older. Bye.
Bye, everybody.